Oh, hi, you're right. Just wanted to do a quick video on making your trinket box. I think this might be an easier way to do it. First of all, what we need to do is press the plus button for a new project. If you've got your screen open, and it comes up to a new project. Next thing I need to do is you go up to the views button, or up to view, and click on there, and we want to go to front view. There, okay, so that's a better view for sketching. Next thing we need to do, see this 1mm scale here. I want to change that to 10mm. What that currently means is each one of these little squares is currently worth 1mm. And we want them to be worth 10mm, so it fits onto the page better. So if we come up, all you do is you put your two fingers on the trackpad. Put two fingers, space them apart a bit, and then pinch them together on your trackpad. Keep pinching them together. You'll see the number has crept up to 5. Keep pinching them together on your trackpad until it gets here to 10mm, which is what it is now. So keep pinching them until it gets to 10. Once it's at 10, click on that. We want to lock that grid size in. Okay, and then click anywhere on the screen to get rid of it. All right, we'll move it back to the center. All right, next thing we need to do is we need to start making the long panels of our trinket box. So coming across here to the sketch button, click on sketch and then click on rectangle. Make sure it says diagonal there. So click on rectangle. Coming across to the origin point, just wait until it says origin. What you need to do next is simply left click and release. So left click the button or your mouse pad and release it, and then drag it out. All right, so what we've got now is a rectangle that we can manipulate any way we want. We can make it higher, we can make it shorter, longer, it doesn't matter. What's important is that we can edit the value. So currently the rectangle is 100mm high and it's 220mm long. Now for the dimensions of our trinket box, the carcass or the box section of a trinket box is only 90mm high when we make it. So what we need to do is change that 100 to 20. Now to do that, you'll see that box on the left hand side has a blue border around it. Okay, the one with 100mm in it. That means it can be edited simply by keying on your keypad. So I'm just going to type in 90 and press return, and it changes to 90. What it's done now is also it's highlighted the other dimension which we can now change. It's currently at 220. I want to make it 250. So I just type 250 on my keyboard, press return, and it's at 250. We've now got the height and length of the long panels of our trinket box. What I want to do now is come across and hit exit sketch. That closes it off. All right, what I want to do next is we want to turn this rectangle turn it into an angle or angle it on the screen. Now most versions, or the version I've got, I hold the shift key down and I drag two fingers across the trackpad and it angles it. But some versions, to do that, you don't press the shift key down, you just move two fingers across and it will angle it, okay? It just depends. On my version, for your information, if I just drag two fingers across on the trackpad, it pans it across without rotating it. That's without holding the shift key down, two fingers on the trackpad. If I hold the shift key down, it rotates it. Now, most versions do that. You may have a version where those functions are actually reversed. And you can play around with that, holding the shift key down or not holding the shift key down to see what does what. Well, at the end of the day, what we need this is to be at an angle there. Once you've got it at an angle, I want you to take your cursor, put it up onto the face of the rectangle, all right, and simply left click. Left click on your trackpad. And you'll see these blue arrows come up. Once you've got those there, I want you to left click and hold, and I want you to drag it out to the left. And you can see now we're adding thickness to the wall of our trinket box. Now I've dragged it out to 60. I can either just release that and type in 18mm because that's the thickness of our walls, press return, and it'll change to 18. Or I can just drag it back and I can kind of try and get to 18. Now it's jumping by 5mm increments, so it's kind of making it hard. So I'll just drag it out as far as I want, it doesn't matter. Type 18 on the keyboard and press return, and it snaps back to 18. All right, we've made one wall, but we need to add something to it. We need to add a groove for the lid. So coming up here, put our cursor on the face of the rectangle. I'm going to press the spacebar key. Spacebar key. Turns it into a sketch pad. What I want to do now is exit that sketch. Click it off. Next thing we're going to do is go down to Tools. And I want you to go to Offset Edge. Now, when you offset edge here, you see that it's kind of got an outside shape and then a smaller inside shape. That's not the one we actually want. So what I want to do is you click on it. See how it says loop? What we actually want is single. Single. So again, it may be default on loop. You need to press on this little triangle. Change it to single. Okay. All right, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting a 5mm wide groove across here, 5mm down from the top. All right. What we need to do first step, check again that it is set on single. Come up to the top of the square until the top of the box is highlighted and left click and release. Just at the top of the box, the very top, not anywhere on the face, but at the top. When this arrow appears, I want you to left click and hold and bring it down until it says 5mm and then release it. Okay, and then click off onto the screen. Then on that line, click it again and create another line 5mm down. All right, and then click off on the face. Now for each of these steps, guys, if it's not working out for you, if you make a mistake, for example, at any time, what you can do is go up to the edit button and press undo. Okay, now it's faded out at the moment because I haven't closed the function off yet. I'll go, don't do this yet. Just want to demonstrate to you. So I'm just going to close this off. Now, if I've made a mistake, if I've say, I moved it down 10mm instead of 5, or I've done something like that, I can go up to here, edit, and press undo, and it will undo the last step that I've done. If I made a mistake 2 or 3 steps ago, I have to go up and just go back up and undo again, and then undo again. It'll undo all the recent steps until you get back to where you need to start again. All right, so we've got now these 2 lines here. First one's 5mm from the top, second one's 5mm down from the first. What we need to do now is turn this on its angle. Turn it on the angle. Now for you, that might be 2 fingers across the trackpad. For others like me, it might be holding the shift key and 2 fingers on the trackpad. All right, what we need to do now is put our cursor on the space between those 2 lines so it's highlighted. Click on that there. You'll get these blue arrows again. This time we're going to push them to the right. We're going to push them into the timber, and we're just going to push them in 5mm. So left click and hold, push it in until you get to 5mm. Now, if for some reason you can't make it stop at 5, just push it in, say 8 or whatever, and then type 5 and press return. All right, so I pushed that in 5. Now I click anywhere here on the screen to close it off. All right, so we've made one wall for our Trinket box with a groove for the lid to slide into. Now we're not going to make that wall again. We're going to copy it because we need 2 of them. So all we need to do to copy it is go onto the face of it, double click until the whole thing highlights. Not just this one face highlighted, but I see the whole thing is turned this kind of pale aqua blue. Now, very important, press the copy button. You must press this. There. Grab an arrow, click on an arrow here, left click and hold, drag it out with your other finger and you'll see it makes a copy of it. So now we've got 2 panels They're the same size and the same shape, which is exactly what we want. All right, now to zoom in and out, you just pinch your fingers on the trackpad. Now because we locked this at 10 millimeters, you can see it doesn't change when we zoom in and out, which again is what we want. Now what we're going to do, we're actually going to make a third copy of this, so that we've got three, all of the same size and shape, and then we're going to shorten it to the dimensions of the short wall for our box. So putting your cursor on the face of the second wall you've just made, double click again, press the copy button. You must press the copy button. If you don't, all you'll do is move this one around. You won't actually make a copy. And then left click and hold, move this out. And then press anywhere off here to close it out. All right, now we've got three walls. They're all 250 millimeters long, 90 millimeters high, and 18 millimeters thick. Now to confirm any of that, what we need to do, handy little feature, if you want to know to make sure this is actually 90 millimeters high, just put your cursor until the line is highlighted, not the face, but just the edge there. And you can see down here, it says 90 millimeters, telling you that line is 90 millimeters long. Okay. You want to check this is 18, you put it right on the line, click, highlights the line in blue, says 18. And then do the same with the length. Okay, just click on there, 250, which is what we want. All right, we've got three. Now, one of them needs to be reduced to 150 millimeters because it's the end of our trinket box, while these two are our sides. So what we need to do, put our cursor on the edge here and just left click and release. Left click and release. And now it tells you in these arrows it's 250 millimeters long. We want that to be 150 now because this is going to be the end of our trinket box and it's a shorter piece of timber. So because that's highlighted in blue around there, if you zoom in, you can see it's in blue. We just have to type on the trackpad. So I'm going to type 150 and return. Shortens it to 150. Which is good news for us because that's what we want. All right, now I'm going to copy this one. Hit copy. Drag it out. Now the front of our trinket box is a different width. The front panel is not 90 millimeters high. All right, it's only 70, it's about 70 millimeters high. The reason it's 70 is because we need to leave room for the handle of the lid to slide across. So we've made those four across here. We've got the four panels for our trinket box, but this one here needs to be reduced to 70 millimeters. So all we need to do, bring it up here, tip it upside down, because we don't want to adjust this top piece up here. We don't want to adjust this one here because it will squash down and reduce this. We want to keep that the same. So all we need to do, come along here, click the bottom edge now of this front panel, left click and release. You can see it says 90. All right. We want to change that to 70 and return. Okay. Now we've got the four panels of our trinket box. Now we need to align them to form an actual carcass for our box. All right, but before we do that, before we put them all together, I kind of want to rotate this piece around so that the groove is on the inside. The groove is facing this groove here, because that's going to be the structure of our trinket box. All right, so if you've got two panels here where the grooves are facing the same way, you need to turn one of them around so the grooves are facing each other, because that's how it's going to be when we make our trinket box. To do that, it's pretty easy. Again, you just double click on the face of the one you want to turn around. Double click. Now, if you rotate this here, you see you've got these directional arrows here that can move it left, right, up or down. But you've also got these arrows that can rotate. Now, it's very simple to use these ones. You just put your cursor on them until they go blue. You left click and hold and then you rotate it around with the other finger on the trackpad, and you'll see I've turned it 50 degrees. Now I can keep turning it until I've turned it 180 because that's what I need to do. Or I can just turn it to wherever I want and type 180 because you see that box there has a blue border around it. It means it can be edited. So it's edited, so I change it to 180. It's now 180 degrees. Again, guys, if you need to watch any of these steps a few times to get it, please do so. And if you make a mistake, go up here to the edit button and simply it'll undo the last task. So if I'd moved that the wrong dimension or whatever, wrong angle, I can undo. Undoes the highlight, undo it again. Right, remember I took it to about 100, undo it again. Right, I'm back to where I started. All right, so if you totally stuff something up and it's 3 moves ago or 4 moves ago, you do have to undo all the previous steps. So I'll do that again, double highlight, double click, rotate it, clicking and holding, type 180 at any point and return, and it's rotated 180 degrees, so it's facing each other. All right, next thing I need to do is I want to align all these pieces together so they make a box. And once I've done that, that'll be the end of this first video for our Trinket box. All right, what I'm going to do to achieve that, we are going to have to align them and then move them a little bit. Due to the structure, due to this groove here. Right, so what I'm going to go across now is you come across here to transform. Come across here, click transform, and go down and press align. Transform and then click align. All right, first thing we need to tell the computer is which piece are we going to move to where. So we're going to move this piece to here, all right, and then to help make that long wall, short wall there. So I'm going to select that piece, because that's the one we're going to be moving. Then I'm going to press next. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select this edge here, because I want this edge, this corner edge here, to be aligned with this corner here. Because if I do that, it may not align it in the angle that I want, but it'll put it in the position I want, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So I want to put this edge here. Zoom in if you have to get it accurate. I don't want you selecting a face. And then come across here and select this edge, and it snaps it in place. Now it's not the way we want it, which is what I suspected it might happen, but we can open it up. See these arrows here. If this happens, you can use these arrows, left click and hold to rotate it, and I need to rotate it 90 degrees. So I'll do this one manually, I won't type it in, I'll keep going until it says 90. And then you can see there, it's 90 degrees. Come over here and click done. All right, now you can see it hasn't quite correctly aligned it. All right, we've got this length here going all the way up to there. And you've got this part showing down here. And that's because of this this wedge here. Right, it hasn't made it should align the full length of this line to the full length of this piece here, but because of this groove here, it's created a kind of a gap to stop it from happening. So I can tell from there that that's 5 millimeters from the top, because if I zoom in, that line there is 5 millimeters. So what I know is that this wall needs to be lifted up 5 millimeters so it lines up with the top of this piece, which is what I want. So what do I need to do? I just double click on here, on this piece, because I want to move it up. I don't press copy this time. All I do is I grab this arrow, left click and hold, I move it up until it hits 5 millimeters, or I can type in 5 millimeters. Once I'm there, I click off, and that is now where I want it to be. All right. Next thing I need to do, I need to move this piece in. Now, as I tried to explain earlier, these pieces, when I align them, they will generally align so that they center up with each other. Now for this piece to come in, this edge here, if I zoom in, needs to match up with this outer edge here. Okay, but as you can see, they're not the same length. This one's 90, but because of this groove, this one here, and there's 5 millimeters there, 5 millimeters there, this line here is only going to be 70. So again, it won't line up exactly, just like this one didn't. But we're going to do it anyway. So, sorry, if we go to transform, align, select the piece you want to move, which is this one here. Click next, and then go to highlight the line only, the edge. Okay. And I want that lined up with this edge. The reason it's gone offline like that, as I tried to say, is that that shorter edge here for this piece is only 70 millimeters long because of this groove being 5 and that 5. And it's centered itself on the edge of this piece, which is 90 millimeters. It's centered it. Okay. So what I need to do now, sorry, this is 80 millimeters, not 70. This is 80. It's centered it. What I need to now is I know I need to drag it down 5 millimeters. So all I need to do, double click, drag it down. Dragged it down 5, as you can see there. So now it's in position. All right. So the carcass of our box is nearly done. You can see all those the grooves align all the way around. All right, nicely aligned. There is a small gap here, which if we get the opportunity, we will fill at the end of manufacturing our box. That's just the groove going all the way through. Now we need to align this piece into here. And again, that'll be a fairly simple process. So we go across to transform, align, we select our piece, we click next. Now I want to make sure I align this correctly. I'm going to need this edge here to connect with this edge here, I'm pretty sure, and then rotate it 90 degrees, and then click done. All right, and we've pretty much done the carcass of our box. You'll see here, I actually just need to move it down. So I know this edge here is, this edge here, this I'll highlight in, this edge here is 80 millimeters, okay? And I know that the edge of the short piece here, this is only 70, because I remember doing it. So, I've got 5, 5, 5, that's where I want it. I just need to move this down 5 millimeters. So I click on that, move it down 5 millimeters, and that will now be flush all the way around. Okay, and that's our Trinket box. In the next video, we'll put on the base, or before we go, I might actually, we might just make the lid out of plywood, out of virtual plywood here on the computer. But we need, first of all, the size of the lid. So this here is 150 millimeters long, and we want the plywood to go into these grooves. Now I want to leave a millimeter gap difference, just make it a little 1 millimeter short on each side. So what I need is 150 wide plus 4 on each side. All right, there's 158. I know my rectangle lid is going to be 158 millimeters wide. Length, I need it to be 250 plus add on 4 to go into that groove. So it's, oh no, it's not 250. It's 18 minus 18 is 30, plus 18, sorry, is 36. 250 minus 36 is 214. Plus 4 in there is 218. 218, so 2. I think it needs to be 204. Anyway, it might actually need that in another video until I've worked out the maths. All right, so I'll leave that there. Next video, we'll do the lid, probably the base. We probably should be able to get it done. All right, thanks very much, I'll see you then.